Hello, everyone. So today is the solstice. Sun is at 0 degrees Capricorn, and the sun is squaring Jupiter that just entered Aries as well. So this is a very fresh energy. It's all about new beginning, new orientation. And you can say that the square between Aries and Capricorn in general says Aries, new action, new direction, new motion. We're always starting. We're always moving towards the next experience. Capricorn, with respect to where do we really want to go long term, right? What kind of reality are we wanting to create and experience for ourselves? So I think this is a really great day for returning and renewing our intentions. What's most important for us? And what's intuitively calling us? What opportunities and calling is present for us right now to just trust? Jupiter in Aries does call forth an immense amount of courage and self-trust and confidence. It's interesting that this is during Hanukkah. Hanukkah is all about rededication. The essence of the Hanukkah story is about having confidence and trust in a purpose and surrendering any attachment to outcome or result. Right? The miracles that happened, and really any miracle in the story of Hanukkah, are all the result of just doing what was needed, right? Fighting a battle. The few defeated the many, right? Lighting the lamp. There wasn't enough oil for 8 days, right? But one jar of oil lasted for that long, which allowed them the time to then find more oil. There wasn't a giving up on the path. There was a renewing, a rededicating to the path and just doing one's work, trying one's best. And this is one of the most enlightened qualities of Jupiter in Aries. Not being concerned with results or outcome, but just doing what one is called to do. And in that doing, there is an immense trust in the path, a trust in oneself, and really this acknowledgement that only we can know for ourselves what the next step is. Now, there are some pitfalls that I really want to speak to here. And I think understanding these pitfalls would be very helpful for really working with this energy in the most constructive way possible. And the pitfall that I want to highlight here is the trap of becoming quantity driven as opposed to inner truth driven. So quantity driven is the allure of the flashy neon lights, the possibility of more, bigger, faster, better, stronger. All kinds of opportunities are presented to us in this world, right? Build your social media platform, get more likes, earn more money, get better abs, become stronger, attract more relationships or more of anything that you want. And this world, in a sense, celebrates quantity goals. I mean, everything in this culture, for the most part, these things are changing, but it's all around better, bigger, more, faster. And this can be a big trap for Jupiter in Aries. If you're climbing the mountain, whatever lofty, noble long-term goals are at the top of the mountain. The issue here is as you're climbing, there are all these little flashy, dangling carrots drawing your attention. Here, stop here for a while. This is what you really want. Oh yeah, this will make me feel better and look better. And so the issue with being quantity driven is it appeals to the part of ourselves that may not feel sufficient. We don't feel enough. And so we need to overcompensate to hide from ourselves the feeling of not being enough as we are. And it can look very good. I mean, we can get really big, fast, longer, stronger, whatever. And so it can seem like, yes, this is it. But it's actually superficial. And one of the issues with Jupiter and Aries is sort of the flash in the pan effect. We can get really into something really fast, really strong, really quickly, really intensely, and then it collapses. And this collapse really has a potential of bringing us back to ourselves. Okay, collapse, overload. I took in too much, I went too far, and now I can't do anything. That's a typical Jupiter experience, right? Going too far and then total collapse. And yet Jupiter and Aries, what's the positive spin on that? Jupiter and Aries says, okay, what's the lesson? What's the opportunity here? What's the teaching? Let me figure it out. Let me learn from it, make corrections, and start over again. So the Jupiter and Aries experience can be one of going too far, collapsing as a result, and then learning from it, each happening very quickly. The more we can understand these downfalls, these collapses, the more we have the opportunity to learn how to move forward with inner truth as our guide, right? Inner truth. It's very interestingly, very easy to stay in forward momentum in a certain direction. And sometimes less easy to really ask ourselves, why am I doing this? Right? To really know to know why we're doing what we're doing. It's easy to convince ourselves, oh, because this will, whatever, right? This will make me feel better. This will, make me, honestly, if you think about it, any kind of quantity driven goal, we really can't answer the question beyond a superficial answer, right? If we really want to drop into why do I want this, we'd have to ask, why is it important to me in the first place? Well, this will help me to earn more money, right? Why do you want that? Well, I need to earn money, right? It's like you have to stay on a certain level in order to justify any kind of quantity-driven goal. In which case, the means will justify the end, right? We can do all kinds of things that will feel like, yeah, well, this is going to get me where I want to go. And so it's very useful to make a very clear differential between what it's like to move towards quantity versus what it's like to move from inner truth. And quantity-driven goals, actions rooted in that, have a quality of anxiousness to them. They need to be justified. Well, I need this because of this, but they're not going to go deeper. They will only be sustained so long as we're not really asking ourselves the deeper questions of why. What's really important to me? What do I really want out of life? Okay, I need that, but why do I want to do it this way? What's money for? Why am I living in the first place? Right? We'll have to not go there in order to sustain that momentum. So we got to sustain some level of dishonesty with ourselves. And there's always a lot of attachment to the goal, right? If I'm saying I need this in order to get what I want, if this is going to make me feel how I want to feel, then I'll need this outcome. Versus being driven by inner truth, we're not looking towards the destination or the outcome because it's about the moment. It's about here now. I was listening to, and I forgot the guy's name, a well-known recording artist. And he works with very creative artists. And he was sharing something, to paraphrase, that to be committed to our art means doing it because we want to do it, not because of what others will think of it. It's not about making money. In fact, if we need to get another job just to do our art, it'll be worth it. When I think about that, spending our time doing what we love because we love it, and there's an inner sense of I'm growing, I'm developing, this is right for me. We don't even know how to explain it, but it brings joy. That's freedom. And we will grow stronger and become more skilled and capable in time, but not because we're looking at any kind of result, but because we're seeking to live in our joy. We want to be living as honestly and authentically in our true self as possible. So at this time, we can feel very motivated to start all kinds of things. And again, it's very alluring, especially around the new year, right? You got the strong Capricorn energy. You buy that gym membership, classic New Year resolution. And it's very typical to go from 100 to 0. So the invitation and the opportunity here is to take this powerful Jupiter and solstice energy and to work with it as we progress through this Jupiter transit in Aries, to get to know ourselves. What do I really want? What is important to me? And to see how that inspires our actions and our choices. I've been watching a lot of fitness and health videos lately. And I've discovered this very interesting rivulet, this pathway of a particular culture of bodybuilding, completely new to me. It's a very fascinating culture. And what I've learned is pretty much most, or maybe all, for all I know, it's very well known, it's not hidden. Most bodybuilders, especially anyone who's competing as a bodybuilder, will be using steroids and performance enhancing drugs and testosterone and all kinds of, and insulin, all kinds of things to make them basically bigger, to make them more capable of enduring longer, stronger, bigger workouts. So very Jupiter in Aries. And I was listening to this one video with this one well-known bodybuilder. First, there were all these advertisements in the description and in the video itself for these, like, testosterone drugs, make your male member bigger, like all these very like quantitative, flashy goals, which will appeal to a lot of people that at some point have come to believe this will make me feel good about myself. But in that video, it was actually revealing, interestingly enough, all of the health effects that this guy is dealing with as a result of his lifestyle. And I learned that it's very, very well known, very common for bodybuilders to endure a lot of health issues, issues with their heart, with kidneys, with their liver, because of all the drugs they're doing. So it's common to have these health issues, common to have early onset health issues, right? Things that happen at a very young age. So very quick, very fast, very strong, big downfall, big collapse. But again, wherever we experience that, we have to appreciate that honesty, as simple as it sounds, and it is simple, is oftentimes not our first choice. We'd rather go the path that will make us feel better about ourselves first. But we get to become more self-aware of where we really are, what's really going on the inside, and learn from it and start over again. So this is just a helpful perspective to take into our Jupiter and Aries journey. 2 announcements. We have 2 amazing courses beginning soon. The full year training program, I've actually pushed it to February to allow for more time for enrollment and to free up our January a little bit. So we're starting February 19th. This is a beautiful learning environment. It's not just studying a soul-focused astrology modality, which is a helpful skill and knowledge base to have for yourself or for others. It's also a spiritual immersion. We get to grow and learn a lot about ourselves, and it's a beautiful container with a loving and inclusive environment with new students, return students, alumni support. So check that out in the description below. I have various tuition assistance options available for anyone who has the need for tuition support. The other offering, this is a completely new program. In past years, I've offered, actually last year alone, I've offered the practicum for those that took my training program. What I'm doing this year is I'm taking the practicum, I'm making it a student practice course, and I'm opening it up to not everyone, but to anyone that is already really well studied in the evolutionary astrology work. So I've heard from several people that they are interested in studying with me, but they don't feel the need to go through a training program, right? Some people will jump in at the chart interpretation course, which is part 2 of my year training program. But some people just want to practice. They don't need to learn the chart interpretation interpretive work. So for those that are already well practiced and trained in this work, this is an opportunity to receive an immersive, supportive community learning experience in just pure practice of the EA work. So you can learn more about that in the description below. Thank you for watching.